King real quick, just so you know, Chris King in his first week or second week, did you go to that call, Chris?
Which one?
On Fort Johnson Road.
I want to say it was the second week.
Second week. So his second week there, he gets a call at right down the street on Fort Johnson Road for a drug overdose. Well, this drug overdose, Chris was able to save the gentleman's life. He literally was not breathing, had no pulse. Chris gave him some Narcan, which reverses the effects of heroin. He admitted that he was a heroin user later on, but Chris saved his life. So I put him into the sheriff's office for a life-saving award. So we're really excited about that. That without Chris being there, we would have lost a life that day. There's no question. And, so we're really, really excited about that. During the month of July, we had a meth arrest. We locked somebody up for DUI, and we had a few warrant arrests and a couple other drug arrests. And we didn't work as many hours because we were strained. We're kind of going back to normal. We're not as down as many vacancies, so we're pretty excited about that. Last but not least, when it comes to the storms, we expect to have storms. We know where we live. And if for whatever reason, let's say Chris wasn't there because he was out for an emergency, the sheriff's office, not just the town of James Island, the sheriff's office will supply someone that can be there at the town. And I think we got it up to 2 deputies that will be there for emergencies that will actually be assigned to town hall for emergencies. So we spoke of 1, and now we've got it up to 2. And I think that's pretty much all I got. Again, really excited to move this program from doing 20 to 30 hours a week all the way up to where we're at now, to the point that when you drive around, people expect to see the sheriff's office. It's not like before where it was surprising to see the sheriff's office. Now they expect it, and that's what we want. So I thank you, Mayor Woolsey, Town Administrator Callahan, and of course the councilwoman and councilmen that make this possible for the sheriff's office, because this has been a successful program. It's a program that other agencies, Somerville and a couple of agencies, are looking at to figure out what they're going to do. And so we will be modeled after, and I see that in the coming future.
All right. So does anyone have any questions for Sergeant James?
None?
This is Councilwoman Mignano, and Sergeant James, thank you for your report, and Officer King, Deputy King, I'm not quite sure.
Deputy King, Deputy.
Yes. Thank you for saving that man's life, and welcome to James Island. I look forward to meeting you and getting to know you better so we can have a great working relationship.
Well, if we're not putting him on the spot, I'd like Deputy King to, say a few words and introduction of himself. Or actually, Sean, you can do some introduction. You already did, but then have him speak.
Yeah. The reason Chris was chosen for this job, I mean, look, we looked, I had 37 deputies that actually work in the town. And so I was looking for somebody who's the right fit. I mean, do you get a male? Do you get a female? What do you need for the job? So I started kind of screening each one, and I wanted somebody that was going to fit in, number one, with the town and people that work there. But number two, somebody who actually was going to go out there and go out in the public, make contacts. If he has to do police work, he'll do police work. But at the same time, our goal is not to go out there and arrest people. Our goal is to educate and to make town James Island a safer place. So Chris King came from Ohio. He was a cop up in Ohio. He can tell you about that. He's been at the sheriff's office, I think, three years. And so since he's been here, he's been a rock star. And we look forward to having him. He also speaks fluent Spanish. Although we don't have a large Latino population here, it still comes in handy. For a lot of different things, whenever you come across somebody that speaks Spanish. Chris, I'm going to turn it over to you so that you can tell a little bit about yourself and what brought you to Charleston.
Okay. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
I can. Okay. Hi, I'm Chris King. Yes, you're correct, Sarge. I've been here 3 years now next month. So I moved here from Ohio. I know everybody hates Ohioans, but I promise, I tell everybody I know how to drive right, so don't worry about that. I've been a cop for almost 12 years now. I did most of my time up there, and then I kind of got tired of the snow and ice, so I wanted to go somewhere warm. So I found my way to Charleston, and I've loved every minute of it ever since I've been here. The sheriff's office has been amazing. The whole county has been amazing. I literally love everything about this place, and this is where I will work and retire and live for the rest of my life. I was excited when Sarge asked me to work the assignment with James Island because I spent a lot of time working James and Johns Island when I was on patrol. So I knew a lot of the area already. I didn't know all of it, but I knew a good majority of it. And what I like the most about James Island is how much the citizens will interact with us, how much they'll come out and talk to us and say, hey, we appreciate what you guys do, or hey, I'm having this problem, can you help me with it? Most people are intimidated to even talk to us, but James Island people were different, and I really like that. And as far as that call went on Fort Johnson, thank you, Sarge. I really appreciate the kudos on that. But that's what we do. Our job is to go out and protect life and property and everything. So I appreciate the kudos, but I was just doing my job. I did unfortunately have a lot of experience up north in Ohio with overdoses because we would probably respond to 15 to 20 a shift. The problem with heroin is really, really bad up north. For a while, my city was #1 in the nation for overdoses. So I unfortunately had that experience, but I knew what to do and I knew how to handle the person on Fort Johnson when it happened. So I'm glad it worked out, and I'm glad that he was able to come back and be revived because he was very grateful. He was apologetic for what he did, but that comes with that territory. But he was very grateful that I was there, EMS and fire. So does anybody have any questions for me?
Any questions for Deputy King?
Yes, I have one. Deputy King, if you ever want to talk to somebody from Ohio, I'm from Ohio too. So if you ever miss what used to be a Yankee accent, we could talk. Whereabouts in Ohio?
Now I'm getting the connection. It's finally making sense. All right.
Whereabouts are you from, Chris?
Toledo.
Toledo. Okay. My brother lives there.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good. Hopefully he lives in one of the better parts.
Well, yeah. Northbridge, I think, something like that. North something. All right.
Yeah. Maybe north side.
Yeah. It's close to Michigan.
Oh, yep. That'd be the north side.
Yep. There you go.
Well, again,
Deputy King, I think all of us, as Councilwoman Mignano said, we all appreciate all your work that you've been doing, and especially saving the man's life. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Or all right.
Actually, I do want to touch on that Clearview thing that I spoke to Ashley about. I received a lot of complaints from the citizens when I was driving through there, and a couple of them called in and actually requested a deputy come out and speak with them, so I did. They were very upset about the speeding, so this morning I spent an hour and a half dedicated to Clearview, and I probably clocked about 40, maybe 50 cars with the LiDAR gun, but not a single one of them was excessively speeding. So I'm going to go back, throughout the rest of the week and next week and see if I can observe just what they're complaining about. For as many people that came up to me to complain, I know there is some type of issue. Just today, I didn't see it. Most of the speeders I caught today were all on Harborview.
Well, thank you very much. All right, so I think I skipped over the Public Works report, so I'm sure we all want to hear about what's going on with Public Works. Mark?
Yes, good evening. So this is for what went on in July. We had 5 new requests for service in July. 2 were drainage related, and staff has responded to all of the requests. Staff and volunteers from the James Island Charter High School Environmental Club conducted a trash pickup at Brantley Park. Staff and engineers from Thomas and Hutton met to begin work on the GeoThink stormwater asset management component. We're very excited about that. Staff continued maintenance on the walking path at Pinckney Park. This is something that we had planned in the works, and we got some more material, spread it out, filled in some ruts, that sort of thing. Staff participated in a virtual meeting of the SCASM Board of Directors. That's the South Carolina Association of Stormwater Managers, and I'm the Secretary Treasurer of that this year. Staff participated in a virtual meeting with other municipalities and Charleston County to review the storm debris cleanup procedures. We made preparations for Tropical Storm Isaias. Monthly stormwater managers meeting was held by teleconference, and we installed some fencing around the dry pond at Picnic Park, spread some mulch at Dock Street, and built some new trash cans for the picnic pavilion. Y'all should go out and take a look at them. Staff cleaned 12 signs in July and installed 5 new stop signs and 26 new street name signs. And we filled 4 holes with 6 bags of material, potholes, that is. And that's my report.
Do we have any questions for Public Works Director? All right, well, thank you very much, Mark. Appreciate that report. Okay, let's go to our request for approval. And our first one is driveway apron repairs. So Ashley, would you like to briefly speak to that?
Yes, so we do have 2 more requests for driveway repairs this month. One's at Mount Vernon, one's at Waterloo. The pipes are kind of sinking into the ground, causing a drainage concern. Something Mark and I have talked about is developing a policy so it's clear to residents when they request an apron repair. They know this is not cosmetic. There's actual drainage concerns. It's drainage related. We feel these 2 are need to be repaired. The estimates again look how one's at 8, one's at 10. The last 2 we did, the estimates were about that high, and we paid about $5,000 each. As you know, the county's always conservative on their estimates.
So is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
There's a second?
Second.
Okay, so I'll call that for Councilwoman Magnano, seconded. And so discussion, any further questions or comments or discussion?
Yeah, I think this is a great thing to do, but I wasn't aware that there was a request protocol for this. Is there a form or something that residents can fill out when they have concerns about their driveway apron? Or do they simply call Public Works at the town? What is the procedure for that?
Let Mark answer this, but mainly it's they can call, but we also have our work order request system on the website.
Okay.
So I know that he gets some that way.
Yeah, I've had a couple people contact me, so I'll tell them to look for that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion?
This is
Yes,
Councilwoman
Councilwoman.
Mignano. I'm so sorry. I'm talkative today. I have a question. So the erosion and the collapse of the culvert or the ditch underneath the driveway apron, I see that you're going to be compacting the dirt underneath to keep it from collapsing again. But is the reason that it collapsed because the pipes were old or because they were full of mud and the water just went underneath the pipes? Or how did this happen, and how do we make sure it doesn't happen in the future to other aprons?
Mark, you want to take that?
Yes, more than likely, Councilwoman, what happened was when they built the neighborhood and put the infrastructure in, they didn't do it properly. And so over time, the substrate has failed. That's usually what it is. Sometimes if there's a joint failure, it can cause erosion underneath the pipes and then they'll sink. Again, if you don't use the proper material under there and compact it enough, you are going to have a failure. So those are really the 2 main reasons we have these issues.
Thank you.
So, and Councilman Magnano, I think I don't believe that these driveway aprons were new and that, they suddenly failed. They were very old, and, we can't expect the concrete and the pipes to last forever. So this is going to be a continual process of, repairing these. And sometimes it's very important to get it done because when the, cars driving over the apron, when that happens and it breaks, it disrupts the drainage, and so we need to fix it. Any other comments or questions? All right, hearing none, would the town clerk please call the roll, please, Francis?
Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Manano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Mullinax,
yes,
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes. Okay, then that passes. The next item on the agenda is the Lighthouse Point and Cedar Point Pond investigation. Would you speak to that, Ashley, please?
Yes, I would actually like to request to defer consideration of this. We've had some kind of recent developments. These two ponds, they're interconnected. One of them, the Cedar Point Pond, their neighborhood has been wanting the town to take over maintenance of not only their roads, but also their pond, which is privately owned. The Seaward Drive one is actually in the town's jurisdiction. It's a public. It's not owned by anyone. That's the one that has really been more affected by the algae blooms. But anyway, as part of the process, when a neighborhood wants us to take over the roads or maintenance of private infrastructure, we require them to do an engineering report. And so we know, like we did with Canopy Cove, so we know the state of the infrastructure before we accept maintenance. And so they're actually moving forward with that. They've hired Seaman Whitesides. And so I would, so basically the scope of this is going to change. I'm not sure how much. And it may be that they are able to also look at the Seaward Drive pond issue as well. So really we need to kind of kick this back to the engineers and reevaluate.
There's no objection. I would ask that we defer this item. Hearing none, let's go forward then to the James Island Arts and Cultural Center furniture proposal. Ashley, again, please.
Yes, and we do have Sarah and Jennifer with Lilio. They're on the line. We also have Becky Ness. She is with the furniture. She is the actual person who put the furniture proposal together in the packet. If y'all have any questions for them, but basically we went over all of these options and layout with the stakeholder group. They were able, I think, to get a lot of insight from the stakeholders of what direction to go. We had, I think last had a $50,000 placeholder in the budget for furniture. We're able to get it down to about 40. We are reusing the computer desks that are there, taking some furniture from here that we don't really use and using it over there, and a couple other tables that we were able to save and reuse.
Okay, well, before we go any further, let's go ahead and see if there's a motion to approve.
make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, so I'm sorry to interrupt, Ashley, if there was more you wanted to say, or are there any questions or discussion? Are there any questions or is there any discussion? Well, hearing none, then let's bring it to a vote. Would the town clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Manano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Mullinax,
Yes,
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes, so that passes. Okay, so next we're going to go to underground power lines, priority location. Ashley, would you like?
Yeah, then I can defer this to Councilman Walls, his request to put on the agenda.
You don't want to do all the talking tonight.
I feel like I already have been.
So the proposition here is that we agree upon, I guess, a list of priority locations to start putting the power lines underground. And when I brought this up a while ago, Ashley had actually already been looking at this for a while prior to my arrival. And I gave her credit last night on Live 5 as the originator of this idea, and they didn't run that part of the interview. And I was very upset that they made it seem like it was my idea. It was really hers. But with Ashley's help, Dominion supplied us with that map that shows the problem areas on the island. The area of the highest instances of powder outages is the Foxcroft. I call it the Foxcroft Road corridor. Those are power lines that run through people's backyards in the right of ways, and then after that is the Fort Johnson Road. Yeah, so there's the overhead. And so what I'm asking us to vote on is that we identify the Foxcroft Road corridor as first priority, and then Fort Johnson Road as second. And I'd really like to see Dill's Bluff touched at some point, but that's probably later. It's a really expensive endeavor, and so I think we have to find the funds later for it. What I'm asking is that we agree that we're going to start this process, and that we would start it with Foxcroft Road. One of this, you can see the Foxcroft Road corridor feeds 1,606 customers, and most of the outages to those customers occur in that area. That corridor runs through my backyard, and there are really tall trees that are taller than the power lines. Even with the recent trimming that they did, where they came and cut underneath the power lines and around them, the trees still loom over the power lines, and the branches will grow back. So it seems to me that that being the shortest distance, and it's a discrete area that could be worked on first, that we would start the Foxcroft corridor, Fort Johnson Road corridor.
Okay, well, so I'll take that as a motion to approve. There's a motion. Is there a second?
I second it.
Okay, any further discussion? Any discussion?
This is Councilwoman Mignano, and I don't know if this is the proper time for me to say this, but I am going to choose to abstain from this vote.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Yes, I have a question about the cost of this stretch of Foxcroft. I see that we have a budget list here. Is that the estimate, $657,028 to do that short stretch on Foxcroft? Is that what it?
Ashley, would you explain
that? That's what they will match. That's what Dominion will match up to that amount. So if the town, based on our consumption of electricity, Dominion over a 5-year rolling period will match a certain amount of money based on how much electricity they sell to the town. And that, so that 650 and some change $1,000 represents what we could get in matching. We would pay half of that amount, they would pay the other half. And then anything beyond that expense would not be matched. It would just be an expense of the town.
No, it's it's $328,000 is what they will provide, and we have to come up with $328,000 from other budgeted funds and spend it for power-related activities, including burying power lines.
Mm-hmm.
And we are already working to bury power lines along Folly Road, and so some of this money is an unknown amount is spoken for that. But after that, this would, the proposal here is that the proposal is that we will work on Foxcroft Road first, and we don't have an estimate of what it would cost for the entire part, or that we could do half of it or just some part of it. That's the proposal is where we'll start. That's my understanding. And so there, and actually what happens is the 60,000s and the 50,000s, you look down that column, that's how much comes in a year. And it maxes out at 5 years. And so if we don't spend it, we lose it. And so we've already spent some money from that fund to put in streetlights around Dills Bluff and Camp. And we anticipate spending money out of that budget, using that money to match some of the work on Folly Road. At least that we're working towards that. And then this would move forward to, the proposal is for Foxcroft Road. And I'll speak to this. I believe at the budget workshop last spring, I don't know if you all remember, but I remember that we came to a consensus that we should focus on Fort Johnson Road, because that is a scenic byway.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think it's, at least in my mind, that because it's a scenic byway, beautifying it is something that we could use hospitality tax funds. And so as we think about the matching funds for any such bearing project, where is that going to come from? I don't think the backyards in Foxcroft, we could use the money from, we can't use hospitality tax funds to bury power lines because, while it's a good idea and it'd be good to do that, I think that we should stick with the plan to go with Fort Johnson Road. And it so happens that Fort Johnson Road is at least one of the number 2 places where we have power outages, down at the end, close to DNR.
Well,
So
Mayor,
basically from Harborview Road to DNR.
Well, Mayor, I guess what I'm asking here is if we can do both. Because if we do have the ability to use hospitality funds for Fort Johnson for matching with Dominion, would it be possible for us to have enough monies to go ahead and do Folly, do Foxcroft, and then also do Fort Johnson, and at least get the plans started for Fort Johnson as well?
Well, Councilman Milliken, we can ask for estimates for both of those places. That would be very reasonable approach, and then actually find out how much it would cost before we commit to doing any particular place, I would think. But I think it's also important to know that it's very expensive and that this money here will not do all those things.
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to get an idea of what it costs.
And if I could, sorry, I'm just gonna butt in here. I've tried to get good estimates, also for these 2 places that we're looking at. And Dominion, I've been speaking with them, in particular, Timothy, one of the guys who's working on the Folly Road project, in particular, a lot about this. And in order for them to sort of devote the time and, the energy and the staff to devoting it as a project, they need a prioritization from council. They're only going to do one at a time. They could give me ballpark numbers, but for example, they said it cost about 300 a linear foot to do the Sam Rittenberg project. If you, and we looked at it at Dills Bluff, and if you did a quarter mile on Dills Bluff, that would be $825,000. So, and that's probably a little high. Sam Rittenberg has a lot of commercial, but they just said it's so dependent on the area, what houses it feeds. The houses, are you going to have to, improve the electrical there? Anyway, so they will not give us ballparks for these before we move forward. They really want a commitment from us on which way we're going to go before they basically devote the time and the energy into building it as a project. With Folly Road, the county has committed to paying the cost to already relocate the poles. So there's about 13 poles in that phase 1 project that could be buried. And so the county will offset that by the cost they were already going to pay to relocate the poles. We just don't have that number yet. They're at 90% plans. They're still working on all that. So anyway, that's a long story, but kind of where we are.
Well, I do want to get this ball rolling. I really do. And how long is the length of burying that would take place on Foxcroft? And how long is the length on Fort Johnson Road if we were to use the $300 per linear foot estimate?
I don't know.
So I got on Google Maps and I took a Post-it note and I measured out the scale, and I measured the Foxcroft corridor at approximately 3,000 feet. 3,000 feet was my estimate. Again, keep my methods in mind. It was a Post-it note and some markings with a pen, and then just kind of tracking it up the screen.
Well, how much is it a linear foot?
300 a linear foot comes out to a total cost of 3,000 feet would cost about $900,000.
So that's, more than the
It's more than we
money
have.
available.
It's more than
And-
we have right now. But the focus on Foxcroft Road to me is a safety and functionality issue.
And
The other
remember
areas
that for
very
Foxcroft
important
Road, it'll be
for
general funds.
aesthetics. And so aesthetically,
All right.
Folly Road is a good place to do it. And aesthetically, Fort Johnson is a great place because it's beautiful. What I'm kind of asking us to focus on right now is like the safety issue associated with with extended power outages and the form of it. And the power company picked that area, and nobody else did. They say that's where the most outages happen. And so in keeping in mind what Ashley said, that they won't really give us a real cost until we kind of agree that we're interested in that area. So that's what tonight's vote is aimed at doing, is sending them the signal that we are interested in that area, and hopefully they will then respond in kind with telling us how much it would cost. And then we got to find the money after that.
Okay, any other discussion? Any other comments? Well, so I would like to speak again that I still think that we should emphasize Fort Johnson Road in the area that Dominion has said is also a problem area in terms of safety. It is also important for aesthetics. It is a beautiful beautification corridor. And so that means it will be eligible from a source of funds that we cannot use just for safety, that we can use because it's tourist related. We are working towards an effort at getting a park at Fort Johnson. I just think that the way to do this is not to try to do the entire length from Fort Johnson to Harborview Road, but you just do a part. And so that's what we should tell them. We would like to start at Fort Johnson and move up, and look at 1,000 feet or 500 feet, something what we have the money to do. So I don't think that we should do Foxcroft in people's backyards. That rather the right thing to do is, as we discussed at the budget workshop last February, is that we should do Fort Johnson Road. And it just seems these all this evidence includes where we get the money, where we have issues, all that, and where it will provide beautification and make it eligible for hospitality money. All that comes together with Fort Johnson. So I think that's what we should focus on, is Fort Johnson, not Foxcroft.
And I haven't nailed this down yet, but I do know that there are hurricane mitigation grants out there. My hope would be that, although we're not going to be able to use hospitality money on the Foxcroft corridor, because it would prevent the most residents from losing power during hurricane events and other high wind events, it may qualify for funding that Fort Johnson or Folly Road might not. Fort Johnson seems like a hybrid where it is function and beauty in the same place. And it does need it. I think when we had that discussion at the budget workshop, we didn't have this map that showed that shorter area with higher frequency. And so all that we're voting on tonight is our desire to fix this problem and get Dominion to tell us how much it'll cost to fix this problem. So while Fort Johnson Road is important and it might qualify for hospitality funds, Foxcroft Corridor, the shortest area of highest frequency that relates to disaster mitigation. So I don't see them as being mutually exclusive to each other. They're inclusive.
Well, so if we say Foxcroft Road is our priority, then what's going to happen is they will provide us information on how much it will cost us to do Foxcroft Road, and we'll use up all of our money, or not, for many years.
This is Councilwoman Mignano. I know I've abstained from this vote, but I do have a question, if that's okay.
Yes.
The 1,600 people that are impacted in this area, are they impacted by both Fort Johnson and Foxcroft, or just Foxcroft?
I'm reading this map from them that's included in the packet. It says that the circuit, which is the large area, feeds 1,606 residents. Most circuit level outages are caused by tree conditions along Foxcroft. So I think when Fort Johnson causes a power outage, it affects similar or same area as the Foxcroft corridor, but the Foxcroft corridor just happens more frequently. They both harm the same group of people when it goes out at either place, but it's more frequent based on my reading of this attachment of this map.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I guess my conflict has to do with the quality of the trees and the aesthetics, because there are some absolutely gorgeous trees on Fort Johnson, particularly down there by the James Island Youth Soccer Club. And they're for everybody to see. You're in an area that's well traveled, and a lot of people enjoy the view of those trees. I guess the question is it in fact really a viable solution to use hospitality funds for this purpose? I think we need to know the answer to that in an ironclad way. And it just seems like we should be able to have more information from Dominion regarding the cost of these projects, even at a rough estimate. It just seems very vague at this point. And I would almost rather defer the decision until we get all the information we need moving forward. I really want to bury power lines here, but I just feel like given the two options, they're both equally viable, and I'd like to do both, but we can't afford it. So I need more information to really make a quality decision.
So will I take that as a motion to defer, Councilman Milliken?
Yes.
Is there a second? So I'll second that. Any discussion of this motion to defer? This would be to the next meeting. Hearing none.
Wait, it's Councilwoman Mignano. So if we defer it, is there any way that we can measure like the Fort Johnson corridor? Because I know what you're saying is like Foxcroft is too expensive and it's going to take way too much money more than we have. But can we compare apples to apples if we defer it, so we can make do you know what I mean, Mayor? Like we could do, how much would it cost if we did Foxcroft versus how much would it cost if we did Fort Johnson? I most certainly want people to have the best thing that they can, but that may help us make a decision in the future. Thank you.
Okay, well, so I'll speak a bit to that. My understanding of the Fort Johnson project, including say at the soccer club, is that it is not something that where we would measure the length of Fort Johnson Road, come up with the total cost, and that's what we're going to do. It's rather something that will be done by bits and pieces over the years. And so what part of Fort Johnson Road, how many feet on Fort Johnson Road can we afford? That's the way I see Fort Johnson Road. And I'm afraid that the same thing is even true of Foxcroft. It would be, when we look at Foxcroft, you know, that it maybe we could actually afford that whole section, but it's also completely possible that no, that's unrealistic, that what we would do is half, and then, you know, after a few years, do the other half, something like that. But, you know, even the section of Fort Johnson Road that they identified, which was from Harborview, you know, the traffic circle at Harborview Road to DNR, that's what they have highlighted as causing some outages. That's pretty long. And, you know, I'm sure it'd be very expensive. And, you know, we would not be able to do all of that. We would just do a piece of it. Anyway, that's just my understanding. But we can certainly find out how many feet they are. And I think I really appreciate Councilman Bowles doing the back of the envelope calculation and coming up with the estimate of 900,000. I think that's the kind of estimate, you know, that we could do for Fort Johnson as well. So we can get some more information. But anyway, is there any more discussion? We're just discussing deferring, and I guess I'm getting lost subject. So yes, I hope you could have some more information, but remember, the town administrator is telling us getting information is challenging. Right.
You know, I think if they know, I'm sorry to interrupt. I think if they know that there's, you know, a lot of debate and there's two areas in particular, you know, I'll do my best to get a better idea.
I think a vote in favor of it would probably get what we're asking for.
All right, so is there any further discussion? This is a motion to defer. Okay, hearing none, with the town clerk, please call the roll. Francis?
Councilman Bowles?
No.
I'm sorry.
No.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Councilman Milliken?
Yes.
Councilman Molinax?
No.
Mayor Woolsey?
Yes. So the motion to defer fails. And so we're now on the main motion to bury the power lines at Foxcroft as our first priority. Any further discussion? Hearing none, would the town clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Bowles?
Yes.
Councilman Milliken?
Yes.
Councilman Molinax?
Yes.
Mayor Woolsey?
No. So that passes. All right, so next we're going to go on to the Kubota tractor. Would you like to speak to that some, Ashley?
This is the piece of equipment we looked at the budget workshop, and we do have this budgeted. We now have our the shed is in permitting at the county. We've ordered it, so we should have that installed soon and somewhere to keep it.
Is there a motion in favor?
Yes. Move.
Second?
Second.
Yes. I
Any
second.
so yeah, it was moved by Councilman Bowles and seconded by Councilman Milliken. Any discussion?
This is
Okay.
Bowles speaking. Councilman Molinax raised a good point. We were talking about this earlier about operating the Kubota. Are we good with, we got Mark or somebody who can drive it when we get it? Do we need to train somebody?
Yeah, Mark, I think y'all looked at that, right?
Yes, we did. And both Douglas and I are capable of operating that piece of equipment. We don't need any other training.
Perfect.
Oh,
'Cause this,
good.
you can drive this on the road, right?
For short distances, and I would, if I'm driving it, I'd have Douglas behind in the truck with the flashers on. You know, you just got to be
Can I
careful.
drive
You
it?
can't take it out very far.
It has a tray. We do have a trailer that will come with it. It's included in this price.
I think it's a good, I'll just speak to it and say, I think it's a good time to do it. The storms are coming. It'd be nice to have that ability on hand.
Will we
All right,
also
any
have,
further discussion?
yeah, will we also have the pallet fork in addition to the mowing attachment? Does it come with the pallet fork for picking up pallets?
Yeah, I don't think it does with this. That would be something we would get additionally, but we're going to look at that very soon. We just wanted, this is the package that they could offer us for this price right now.
Mhm. Yeah, the pallet fork might come in handy for sandbag operations in the future.
I'm thinking about some other pieces of equipment we might need to lift up too that have already been budgeted. So yeah.
All right.
Any other questions or comments or discussion? All right, hearing none, would the town clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Molinax,
yes,
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes. So that passes. Acquisition. Would you speak to that, Ashley?
Yes, we're pretty much through the design of this project with Thomas and Hutton. I know we've seen this before at, the Drainage Committee meetings and I think at one of the prior council meetings. But this is the scope and fee for Michael Baker, one of the right-of-way acquisition firms we work with. This was the firm that did the first phase and those easements. So they are familiar with the area. It's 6 parcels that we need to get easement on, and the not to exceed value is $40,900.
Okay, is there a motion in favor?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? Any questions? All right, hearing none, would the town clerk please call the roll? Francis, please.
Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Molinax,
Yes,
Mayor Woolsey.
That passes. Next, we'll go to riprap installation on Schooner Road. Would you speak to that, Ashley?
Yes, this is a request Councilwoman Mignano put on the packet, so I will defer to her.
Yes, hello. This is a property owner here in the town. This is a county ditch, if I understand correctly. Previously, the county had poured riprap and done the geomat stuff underneath it, but they only did half the ditch because of some sort of error in mapping the ditch and so then the other half of the ditch was never finished, and the homeowner was losing his yard due to erosion. And he was requesting that the county please come and finish pouring the rock so that he would no longer have to be fighting erosion. I have viewed the property. He had tried to shore it up himself several times. And so this will help him keep his yard and be able to mow his yard closer to the edge of the ditch. I saw previously where he would try to mow it and the yard is eroding into the ditch. So I think this is a good move.
Is there a motion? I take that as a motion in favor, Councilwoman Mignano.
Yes.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Is there any discussion?
You know what the cost is? This is Bowles speaking.
Yes.
The estimate we have from Charleston County, which again, very conservative, is $5,600.
This is Councilwoman Mignano, and I actually looked at the ditch, and Councilman Bowles, if you look at the estimate, they're stating 60 feet of geomat and rock, but I rolled the ditch with a measuring device, and I only came up with 35 feet that needed rock. So I think this estimate is really high, which is fine. But so I think that it's gonna cost a whole lot less than what the estimate is.
Alrighty.
No, and I just like to make one comment that I believe it's a town ditch, so not a county ditch. In any case, and that's why the town would be paying to repair it. Any other discussion? Hearing none, would the town clerk please call the roll? Francis, please.
Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Molinax,
Yes.
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes. Okay, and so the next item that passes, the next item on the agenda is security cameras at Pinckney Park Pavilion. Would you like to speak to that?
Yes, and this is something Councilman Bowles brought up as well, and something that's really needed. We've learned actually recently, we have had some problems with loitering at the park. High school kids smoking marijuana in the new shelter. Had to run them off. So this request is to purchase these Arlo cameras that Verizon, our government Verizon rep has recommended. The total cost of the cameras is $1,200. It would be about, with the broadband and cloud storage, it'd be about $50 a month charge.
Is there a motion in favor?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Okay, any discussion?
Yes, just a
Councilman
question. Does it come in camouflage? Because a big white camera on the tree seems vulnerable to me. Is there any way that we can have that, maybe have a case that's a little more blendable with the environment?
I can certainly look into that. And I don't know what the, thought is on that. And I guess on one hand, that's true. But then on the other hand, is it more of a deterrent when they do see it? I don't know. Maybe Sean can answer that if he's still on, but.
Yes, ma'am. Can you repeat the question?
Is it better to have security cameras that are more visible or less visible?
I would say less visible. Depending on what you're tracking. If you're tracking crime, then definitely less visible. If you're tracking traffic and it's not in a high crime area, no one's really going to do anything. I mean, for example, the traffic cameras we have up on Folly Road, no one's messing with those, and you can see them. But if you're doing it for crime, then yes, someone's going to destroy them 100%.
Well, our cameras here at Town Hall are pretty visible.
They are.
And then hopefully, during the process of them destroying them, I think the deterrent effect is important. Now, maybe we should just have some hidden cameras and some fake cameras that are, just shell cameras that are cheap that can be the deterrent.
Yeah, I mean, the issue becomes, Mayor, is when someone gets caught. As long as it isn't bothering anybody, but once someone gets caught on it, then that's where the problem arises. I mean, luckily that was a one-time thing. And once we put everybody there 30 days, we put deputies there every night for 30 days. So, that helped and let them know that, hey, we're taking this serious. So, but it's probably 6 1, half dozen the other.
Well, thank you. We'll see. Maybe a little of both. Anything else? Any other discussion?
This is Bowles speaking. Also for law enforcement, I have these Arlo brand cameras at my office, and I can get on my phone and I can look right now at my Leeds Avenue office and see what's happening. So it would enable, in theory, if the deputies had the login information, you could just sit in your cruiser and you could see what was happening at those locations. So kind of let you be in multiple places at once. Right.
Absolutely. I mean, getting the deputy to utilize that would be one question. But I mean, and what we're utilizing it for. I mean, because we're going to utilize, you put a camera at Dills Bluff and Camp, what we're utilizing it for is when there's a shooting or an incident or a burglary, and we're trying to look, all right, we got a car going down the road, they weren't sure what kind it was, and you're looking at time, and you look at a time stamp and kind of looking, going, okay, we've seen that Toyota Camry before, and that kind of narrows it down a little bit.
Right.
Well, these cameras we're discussing right now, their purpose is to provide security for our picnic pavilion.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right.
That's what they're for.
So you could see.
Hopefully, though, so far, I don't think we've had any real serious crime there. We'll see.
Right.
All right, any other discussion? All right, hearing none. With the town clerk, Francis, would you please call the roll?
Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Molinax,
Yes.
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes. Okay, so that passes. So now we'll go to committee reports. Our first is for the Land Use Committee, Councilwoman Mignano.
Yes, so I have some nominations, but first I would like to say that Ashley Callahan and I and John from Habitat for Humanity spoke about a program that I'm trying to develop with Repair Care and the high school to have some high school students who possibly are not looking at college as their next move to get some experience and help their community at the same time. It was a great meeting, and I am currently pushing forward to meet with the high school. The principal seemed very enthusiastic about it, so I'm really looking forward to moving this forward, and I'm hoping by September I'll have something to bring to council that is more definitive. And then, Mayor, do you want me to just go ahead and go with my nominations?
Well, I think what you should do is, I think we have some vacancies on the Planning Commission, and then you should ask for nominations for the Planning Commission, and then we have some also vacancies on the BZA, and you would ask for nominations for the BZA. That's what I would ask.
I have people to nominate for the Planning Commission and for the History Commission.
Yes. So as chairwoman of the Land Use Committee, what you would do is ask for nominations to the Planning Commission or the BZA, as we, do each of them. It doesn't matter what order you do them, but I would suggest you do that.
Okay, well, I am asking for nominations for the Planning Commission, which I have one for that.
Yeah. I think you're eligible to nominate someone if you'd like.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
You're eligible to nominate someone if you'd like, yes?
Okay, great. For the Planning Commission, I nominate Kay Kernodle. She is a retired office manager.
So you asked for a second, right?
Yes. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
And then you could call for a vote.
Okay. Can we please vote on this?
Mhm.
So you'd ask the town, so the town clerk, please call the roll.
Francis, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Molinax,
Yes.
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes. So then I believe there's other vacancies.
Yes,
On
I have a
Planning Commission.
nomination.
So Councilwoman Mignano, you would recognize Councilman Milliken. Right?
Yes. Councilman Milliken, I recognize you.
I have a nomination for Planning Commission. This is to, well, I'm not sure we could ever replace him. David Bevon has served faithfully on Planning Commission for, as far as I can count, about between 8 and 10 years. And I really do hope that we can do something to honor our past members of Planning Commission, because that's an extraordinary service to the town. I would like to nominate Deborah A. Bidwell as a member of Planning Commission.
Second.
So Councilwoman Mignano, you could call for the vote now.
Could we please have the vote, Francis? Would you call the roll?
Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Mullinax.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Councilwoman Mignano,
I was like, wait a minute, are you leaving me out? My vote is yes.
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes. Are there other vacancies on the planning commission, or was it just two? Francis, Ashley?
Planning Commission, I'll have that in just a second. Okay, David Bevon, is Bill Lyon is up for.
Hey. Yeah.
So
I was trying to ask
no,
for that.
council, just a second, Councilwoman Mignano, you should ask for more nominations.
Yes. Could I please have more nominations for planning commission?
Okay, this is a Councilman Mullinax. I want to renew the tenure of Bill Lyon on the Planning Commission.
Second.
Councilwoman,
Francis, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Mullinax,
Yes.
Mayor Woolsey.
yes.
So Mayor, thank you for helping me with all of that. This is Councilwoman Mignano. So as far as History Commission, we need to wait until
No,
we get.
you need to go to the BZA.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so let's call for nominations for the BZA. Does anyone have a nomination?
I would
I
like
have a-
to nominate David Savage, reappoint David Savage.
Second.
Francis, can you please call the vote?
Okay, Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Mullinax,
Yes.
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes.
This is Councilwoman Mignano. Are there any other open seats for BZA, and do we have any other nomination?
This is Bowles. I thought
There's
there
no-
was one more. So I would nominate Corey Erdman. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right.
Second.
Francis, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Mullinax,
Yes.
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes.
This is Councilwoman Mignano. If we filled all of the open seats, then can we move on to Environment and Beautification Committee?
Francis, is there?
Oh, no, I do have a renewal, I believe.
Francis, are there any?
Yes, Brooke Lyon is up for reappointment.
And I nominate her to renew her tenure. She's done an excellent job.
I second that. Francis, can you please call the roll?
Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Mullinax,
Yes.
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes. All right. Are there any other questions for the for Councilwoman Mignano regarding the Land Use Committee, or do you have any further report?
No, I do not have any further report.
All right. If there's no further questions, then we'll go on to the Environmental and Beautification Committee, Councilman Milliken.
Thank you. James Island Pride has scheduled an island-wide litter pickup for September 12th. I don't know whether anybody has noticed, but there's an awful lot of garbage along our roadways. We'd sure appreciate everybody's help on this one. We're going to socially distance, so we will not be serving lunch. But that date again is September the 12th for our next litter pickup. 9 o'clock at Town Hall. I hope to see everybody there. That's all I have.
All right. Thank you. Any questions for Councilman Milliken? All right. Let's go forward. Children's Committee. And the report, Public Safety Committee. Next.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Just that we didn't have a last month, and as far as I know, we're not having one this month. But I really hope we'll have one in September. And also, I wanted to take this opportunity to thank the hard work that Ashley and everyone else put in, and also spoke to my colleagues on the radar sign on Fort Johnson. I look very forward to that getting installed, hopefully this fall. And foreseeing no problems with council's vote on that coming in September. But anyway, that's all I really have to say. And again, thank you for your assistance in getting that sign.
All right. Are there any questions for Councilman Mullinex? All right, hearing none, let's go on to the History Committee. So the History Committee met and this month, and the History Council met this month, and the History Council voted to have 3 major events in the next coming year. In November, a commemoration of the Stamp Act protest on James Island at Fort Johnson, and then an event during Black History Month that has not been specified, perhaps at Pinckney Park, and then also at Fort Johnson, a commemoration of the first shot in April. And then we still have some vacancies, some eligible nominations for the History Committee. Do we have any nominations?
I have
Mignano.
I have one. Oh, I'm sorry.
I have 2.
Well, let's start with one. Yes.
Okay. My first nomination is Michael O'Neill.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
So would you please call the roll?
Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Mullinex,
Yes.
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes. So, and then Councilman Mullinex, you had a nomination?
Yes, Paul Hedden. I did nominate his renewal. I thought he did an excellent job on the revolutionary, event,
Victory
war
Day.
event that we had. Yeah, History Day we had. And I would like to renew him for that position at this time.
Is there a second?
I second. This is Councilwoman Mignano.
So would the town clerk please call roll?
Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Mullinex,
Yeah.
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes. Okay.
Mayor, I can't hear you.
I asked Councilman Bowles if he had a nomination.
Yes. I was forwarded some materials from Jim Morissette. And
So you nominate Jim Morissette?
Nominate Jim Morissette.
For a
Second.
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 Second. So Francis, would you call the roll?
Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Mullinex,
Yes.
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes. So Councilman Mignano, I mean, each of us has nominated someone to govern this History Council. I don't think it's really in order for you to nominate extra people.
That is totally fine. I just was saying how many I had, just in case.
Okay, thank you. So that's it for the History Council, the History Committee report on the History Council. And so we have 5 members again on the council. Next is a report on Rethink Folly Road. So Rethink Folly Road, the good news is that all the jurisdictions, Folly, Beach, the county, Charleston County, and the city of Charleston, have, in the town, of course, have approved renewed the IGA for the tool group, and so they are starting to work for us again. We were getting in the last few months, well, when's our contract going to be removed? And we asked them to do things. So that's great news. And our next meeting, our next meeting is Wednesday, August 26th at 2:30 via Zoom. And you're all welcome to call in. Are there any questions about Rethink Folly Road? Hearing none, let's go to the Councilman Mullinix.
Yeah. Is it?
You have a report on the
my turn
Drainage
now?
Committee?
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're kind of fading in and out on me.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Enunciate.
Okay. We had a good quarterly meeting. We covered a lot of subjects. We got a status report on 3 properties, and Mark gave a very good report on that. We also talked about James Island Creek Basin, the Central Park Basin, the Signal Point Drainage, Lighthouse Point Basin, so we got and among other things, and but it was a very good meeting. A lot of information was changed, a lot of discussion was changed, and I thought it went very well. Hello?
Yes, thank
Hello?
you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you keep fading out on me. Sorry.
Are there any questions for Councilman Mullinix? All right, hearing none, thank you very much. Next, we will go to the Business Development Council.
No
Councilman
report.
Bowles.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No report this month.
Okay, thank you. Now the Tree Advisory Committee, Councilman Milliken.
Yes, we had a virtual meeting, and we have the committee actually was able to send 2 of our rather lengthy documents back to staff for their input. Staff now has new iterations of the town's tree management plan, as well as the Dominion tree trimming agreement to evaluate. We actually received input from our town arborist, Chris Gerard, regarding some of his ideas and working with the document and with Dominion. The idea is that perhaps this could be reviewed by town staff and then shared with the city of Charleston tree people to see if they have similar types of concerns, and perhaps rework the agreement in a way that would make it improved next time they do tree trimming on the island. But that's all we have right now.
Any questions for Councilman Milliken about the Tree Advisory Committee? All right, thank you. Next, we go to James Island Intergovernmental Council meeting, and we have a new chairwoman. County Councilwoman Jenny Honeycutt is now the chairwoman, and she has tentatively proposed a meeting for Wednesday, October 21st. Wednesday, October 21st. Questions? All right.
I have a question. This is Councilwoman Mignano. Do you know a time yet or no?
So we've traditionally met at 7, but I don't think that's been determined, no. But I would assume it will be in the evening. All right, any other questions? Thank you. Okay, now we'll go to resolutions and proclamations. Our next resolution is Resolution 2020-11, Community Support of Armed Services and Veterans.
Okay. I would like to stick with that. This is something that I kind of got the idea of in a town called Waynesboro, Georgia, which I've done some work in, has a display of several armed service flags along with their the American flag and the state flag. Behind their "Welcome to Waynesboro" sign. It's at the intersection. It's at basically their bypass and their main road going into town. So it's in probably the most visible part going into that community. It's a picture that I've enclosed that's included in the packet that should show kind of what I have in mind. And I think that this would, especially in these extraordinary times, show support of the armed services at such a very visible area, probably the most visible area in the town. I think that this would be really nice and couldn't really cost that much. I'm just looking at some flags and some poles and maybe just a little plaque, maybe just, saying that it's just to honor the veterans of the past and the present. So anyway, so that's kind of what I had in mind, for this.
So I take that's a motion in favor. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, hearing no discussion, would you please call the roll? Would the town clerk call the roll, please, Francis?
Councilman Bowles,
No.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
No.
Councilman Mullinax,
Yes.
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes. So that passes. All right, so next we'll go to emergency ordinances. This is our emergency ordinance pertaining to electronic meetings. That was amended to expire August 22nd. Is there any business that you would like that we would do with that?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to extend this emergency ordinance to September 19th.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, would you please call the roll? The town clerk call the roll, please. Francis?
Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Mullinax,
Yes.
and Mayor Woolsey.
Yes. Now we go up to ordinances for second and final reading. This is ordinance 2010 electronic meetings. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Is there any need to extend this ordinance as well and put a date stamp on it?
I don't believe so, and not at this meeting. I think it may require a timestamp. It's what the way that ordinance is written. As long as we are in an emergency situation, then we will authorize electronic meetings, and then when the
Right.
emergency's over, we won't.
And Mayor, that emergency situation is determined by your call, not the governor's call, right?
Well, yes, that's what the ordinance, our general rules about emergencies. Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other discussion or other questions? All right, hearing none. Would the town clerk please call the roll, please, Francis?
Councilman Bowles,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Mullinax,
Yes.
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes. All right, so now we're going to go to new business, and the first item of new business is county feedback request for HUD funding. Ashley, would you speak to that?
Yeah, so just wanted to make you all aware that this was going on. We have advertised it. We'll continue start advertising a little more with the deadline approaching, but Charleston County Community Development, they do a consolidated update of their plan every 5 years, and the priorities that they set are based on community and citizen input. It has generally always been, in recent memory for me anyway, water and sewer connections and septic tank always ranks high. The last 5-year update, a lot of emergency housing repairs, rapid rehousing, homelessness has really increased in priority. So anyway, this is out there. They're wanting the community's input. We will continue to advertise this. We have paper copies here in the lobby, even though we're not getting a lot of foot traffic. This is really just for information.
All right, well, thank you. Are there any questions?
Yes, Ashley, could you maybe put that on the town website so that more people can have access to that information?
Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
There's no further questions. Let's go to the next item of agenda. It's a request for action letter to parties CWS fuel spill of August 14th through 15th, 2020.
Yes, thank you. I've drafted a draft of a letter to Charleston Water Systems addressing their fuel spill of diesel oil that occurred on August 14th. This was a substantial spill, and the more I've learned about it, the angrier I've gotten about it. And I'm pretty unhappy about it. I feel like this is a letter that needs to go to Charleston Water Systems from our council. It would probably have strength if it were voted on. So I would ask that perhaps we take action on it in the way of some sort of affirmation of this language. But basically what happens is when you have chemicals or oil that are stored, it's actually, as I found out, a federal requirement to have a secondary structure in place in the event of an emergency. Now, I know that we had a strange lightning strike that caused a pump to malfunction and pump all of this diesel into the marsh. But had we had a secondary structure like a dike with a floor of some sort of impervious material, the damage would have been far less than it is right now. And I just feel that we need to at least get Charleston Water Systems to do what they should be doing. I found out that the rule applies to any amount of oil stored over 55 gallons. And when you have an event where there's 3,000 gallons going into the marsh, there's a problem. And we probably need to have a structure.
So I take this as a motion that town council should send this letter. Town council approves this letter to be sent to Charleston Water System. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilman Gold?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mignano,
Yes.
Councilman Milliken,
Yes.
Councilman Mullinex,
Yes.
Mayor Woolsey.
Yes. Okay, so that is approved, and we will send the letter from council.
Thank
Okay.
you. Mayor Woolsey, one other thing. I have reached
Yes,
out
go ahead.
I've reached out to Senator Campson with this, as well as our newly elected representative Spencer Wedmore, and both are going to look into this. So it's an issue that we have to have some attention paid to above ground storage tanks.
Well, I understand that Senator Campson has some legislative responsibilities in this area, so great person. I believe it's in Senator Sinn's district, and
It is.
this might be relevant for her too. Okay. So our next item is executive session. Is there any motion along those lines? Hearing none. Now it's time for announcements. Councilman Bowles, do you have any announcements or comments?
No, sir. Thank you.
Councilman Milliken.
Yeah, September 12th, we hope to see you out there with us picking up trash, 9 o'clock, September 12th.
Thank you. I think I got out of order. I was trying to be alphabetical. Councilwoman Mignano.
I have no announcements. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman Mullinex.
No, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, well, there being no further business, the meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.